Well, Chris, first of all, if we're good to go, I'll ask you about Joel. I know you sort of maybe foreshadowed and maybe last week or week before there was another option. Is this just the process of him looking after him heading into finals?
Yeah, that's right. It just seemed appropriate to us that this was the right week to hold him back and get him in as good a shape as he can be in for the last two games. I mean, he's been in pretty good shape, it must be said. Pretty good shape generally the whole year. So this is definitely a proactive move and something that, as you say, we've foreshadowed and we're pretty determined to stick to the plan.
And Reece coming back in as well, how's that going to work with that ruck set up now?
So we're still working through exactly how that's going to work for this week. We were put in the position last night where we had to pick a team and a squad that we suspect was subject to change, and that's probably the way it's playing out today. Not quite in a position to be really clear on exactly what the makeup of our 22 plus sub will be, but I think it's reasonable to expect that the 22 that we picked last night will change somewhere between now and game time tomorrow night. So Stanley coming in, and we're keen to sort of see Segler get some more exposure at AFL level before the finals, but yeah, we're just still a little undecided as to exactly how that's going to look.
So I know you're sort of skirting around the edges there, so I understand you won't go into too much detail, but were you reasonably satisfied with how Segler went last week, and then is it possible that they both play in the same team, or that's what you're not really prepared to go into at the moment?
Oh no, we were happy. That's very reasonable to say that we were happy with the way he went last week, and we're very open-minded to the two of them playing in the same team. That's definitely on the table and something that we'll consider for not only this week but future weeks as well. But yeah, I was probably more referencing the uncertainty in the team is around a couple of the guys that we think or we were confident would be available, but we weren't quite sure. So guys like Menegola in particular, who will probably play now, and Tui's in that mix as well.
Chris, Brett Rutten, he said earlier this week that Geelong can't win forever. How do you feel about that, and can you win for the rest of the season?
Oh, well, the rest of the season isn't forever. I think winning over the next couple of months is easier than forever. So it's a pretty logical statement. Trees don't grow to the sky. I'm not sure how, without sort of hearing exactly what he said, my guess is that his comments were pretty logical.
And the Saints themselves, they're in must-win territory to keep their finals alive. How wary do you have to be playing a side in this that need to win to play finals?
Well, it's our preference. Really, coming into finals, it's the last thing that we want to be doing is seeing these games as practice games. We want to be trying to simulate what we'll get in a final series as much as possible, and there's no better way to do that than playing a team that's fighting for their football life, if that's not sort of exaggerating the situation too much. I mean, they are already in the eight. They've been a good team for the year, and no team knows what they're like at their best better than us. There was a 20-minute patch last time we played them where they played exceptional footy. So the combination of their motivation and their capability means that we're going to get a formidable challenge, which at this time of year, as I said, is our preference.
Chris, just one on Eddie Betts. Has the group almost had a lift from having someone, not just, particularly this week, I mean obviously his experience and everything, but the way he has handled himself and the courage he's shown, is that something that the group clearly takes note of and almost empowers them a little bit, do you think, or is that a bit of a stretch?
No, I think the thing that I can be sure of is the impact that Eddie's had on our group. He's such a positive, optimistic guy, and it's no surprise to us that he's handling this situation well, given the way he's conducted himself in his time at the Cats. He's had a really positive influence, not just on the playing group and the younger players and the specifics around his role on field and the X's and O's, but culturally for us, he's added to us. He's been able to tell his story really effectively, and notwithstanding the current controversy, and I don't want to diminish that in any way, but the Eddie Betts story is much, much bigger than that controversy. So I'm looking forward to reading the book so that I can expand my knowledge around some of the adversities that Eddie's been able to overcome, not just throughout his footy career, but throughout his life. It's a really inspiring story, and I think it would be a shame if this controversy diminished the other parts of the Eddie Betts story.
You mentioned, sorry, Kingy, I'll shut up soon. You mentioned Zach Tui there. How is his recovery going? Has it been a little bit slower? I was missing last week, or should he be right?
No, it hasn't. It hasn't been slower at all. So it was a proactive move. Well, in some respects, COVID is COVID. There's nothing you can do about that part. But the rest of his body was actually going really well. It was an opportunity once he recovered from what was a minor illness and got out of quarantine to get some extra work in. But yeah, it's why I want to be specific now, because we didn't name him in the team. But it's likely if the balls fall the way we think they will over the next couple of hours that he will play. And I wouldn't like anyone to think that there'd been an issue with Zach over the last couple of weeks. He's in good shape. It was just the best way that we could manage the uncertainty that we had last night.
We speak on Brandon Parker's contract extension, obviously coming into the side for his first sort of 22 or starting team game for a while. What do you see his role being? Tom Atkins has taken on more responsibility in the midfield.
Yeah, I think we're fortunate in that we do have a broad midfield group, which Brandon's certainly a part of, and Tom Atkins will continue to be a part of as well. There are lots of spots for different types in there, and Brandon has been a feature of our team for a long time. Obviously got injured the week before the bye, came in for the last quarter last week. I think it's a reasonable. You shouldn't always read too much into these sort of things, but the fact that he missed 7 weeks and came straight back into our team, albeit as a sub, speaks to how highly we rate him.
And just another player that's coming out of contract at the end of this year is Tom Hawkins. He played a couple of weeks ago that he was pretty keen to play on. Have there been any discussions over his contract status?
I'm sure that the relevant people have been talking about it, and that's not me, particularly at this time of year, and not really Tom either. Tom and I, it's a bit similar to Joel and I. We've just known each other for so long and have such a good relationship that we've got the utmost confidence that we're aligned for our part in it. And then Tom's manager and the list management team, I'd be staggered if they haven't been having conversations about it. But the parts that are fed back to me that have the most relevance are that all of those situations are aligned and where they need to be, which is really important for us and important for me too. I appreciate it because my job at the moment is to coach the team and make sure that we're as focused as we can be on our priorities, and we're lucky to have a big professional team at our footy club where we trust the people who are charged with that responsibility to get those things done. But it's good to hear he wants to play on. That's nice.
And just on Joel Selwood, I know you flagged it a bit before that it was a scheduled rest. Is this the last time you can imagine him getting a scheduled rest this season? Are you expecting him to play the rest of the season after this week?
Yeah, I can't see any reason why he'd miss another game from here.
Chris, just on Joel's management, he's a bit of a mentor as well after the build-up to last week, and he was a bit in demand, in terms of just life in general. Everybody wanted a piece of him. Yeah,
that fits into it. I wouldn't say that it's the main driver of his decision making around the timing, but it was a factor that we all considered, and I think the pre-finals bye has an impact there as well. So when it comes to the management of players, I don't think anyone else would be offended to hear that Joel tends to take priority over everyone else, and that was what was best for him. And 2 games before the bye seems like a pretty good prep to us. But yeah, the added benefit of having that bit of a break, because he was in demand, and he does a great job of recognising the people that he appreciates playing a part in what's been a great career. So the chance just to sort of step back a little bit and get some privacy, I think, would be something that he'll relish.
You flagged Paddy having a break, and the mind wanders a little bit. He's due for 300 next week, but there's something where potentially he doesn't go to the Gold Coast 300s here, and then you've got the week off following. Is that factoring? I don't know, I'm saying factoring to thinking, but is it off next week to play the next week to then week off into hopefully a qualifying final?
Oh, it wouldn't be the worst. It wouldn't be the worst build up for Paddy, but I don't think it's our plan right at the moment. So did you say that we flagged Paddy getting a break? I might have. No, if I did, I misspoke. No, Paddy's not really in that category right at the moment. I mean, it may happen. You know, say these things and things change, and you accuse me of lying, which I always aim to avoid. But no, it's not part of our plan at the moment.
How's Gary Rowan tracking? I know obviously he can't play, but what's the early indications? 5 days on, 6 days on?
He was really good straight away, is what's been fed back to me. So I think I said at the time, you know, there's the concussions where you know they're bad, and then there are the concussions where you hope everything's okay. You know, they tend to be pretty grey, but every indication was that he was really good, and that's continued the whole week.
Shane Neal?
His concussion issue as well, you know, seems to be okay. And I'm hesitant to say okay, because you know I don't want to be flippant about these things. We take them really seriously, but the trend seems to be positive.
When does Sam Simpson start to come into your thinking for an AFL game?
Yeah, this week, next week, the week after, somewhere there. Yeah, he's played well enough at VFL level to be on our mind, that's for sure.
Would you like to see him, obviously, in the next, well, you won't see him this week, but in the last 2 games, I suspect?
Yeah, so, you know, at the risk of sounding like a smart aleck, the easy answer is yes. Like, we're really keen to see Sam, but I'm not sure where the hierarchy sits in terms of our desire to see Radigalia, who, you know, everyone should know how highly we rate him and how highly I rate him, and love to see him back in the AFL team as well. He was, you know, in our best team for a long period of time, and it wouldn't surprise me at all if he could get back into what we consider to be our best team. Francis Evans is in that category as well. He would have been picked in our team a few weeks ago, I don't mind saying, probably a bit longer than that, except he hurt his knee at VFL level after kicking 5. You know, there's a decent group of Quinton Narkle's absolutely in that category as well. We'd love to get him in. So the easy answer is yes, we'd love to see some footy from these guys. It's just how we manage it all that's the problem.
I believe Sean Higgins will play VFL this weekend.
Yeah, it's really good news that he's just fought really hard to give himself the chance. It's something, you know, he's been a real asset to us off the field through this period. He's really invested, and he's just keen to throw everything at it so that if an opportunity arises, he's ready. It's a good sign.
Curtis Stevens hurt. I see he's not in the VFL team this week.
Yeah, he won't play this week. He's got a minor hip issue that was, I think, touch and go for this week, but discretion was a better part of valour there. But my information is that it should only hold him up for the one game.
I wouldn't normally ask you about a VFL player, but I want to ask about Oscar Riccardi. It's a great little story that he's going to have it out in the VFL for the Cats this week. I know you love the sentiment around football and the romance occasionally. This is really nice. I think there'll be some older Cat fans will be rapt to see Riccardi wearing the hoops again. Yeah,
I think we love the idea, and we have we're unashamedly biased towards the local products. If we're 50-50, you know, on players in the draft or bring guys through, we're biased towards the local guys. And by local, we kind of stretch it all the way to, you know, the South Australian border. Like, it's kind of our region. We want to bring those boys home, but it has an added impact when, you know, there's a family lineage as well. So to see the Riccardi name out there, it's going to be exciting for the Cat supporters. Thanks for your time. Thanks, mate.
No worries.
Good job, mate.